In a time of bustling ports and towering sails, lived a young merchant named Sinbad, while others were content with the familiar shores of Baghdad. Sinbad's heart was filled with a relentless yearning for the unknown. He dreamed not just of wealth, but of the adventures that lay beyond the horizon, of lands unseen and stories untold. Today, that dream becomes a reality.
Ho, ho, ho!
As the sun casts its first golden rays over the harbor, Sinbad boards his sturdy vessel, his spirit soaring higher than the seagulls overhead. Waving a final goodbye to his family and friends, he sets sail, leaving the safety of home behind for the promise of his first great voyage. The journey began with an almost deceptive calm. The sea was a vast expanse of shimmering turquoise, the sun warming the deck as the gentle wind filled their sails.
Ho, ho, ho!
Sinbad stood at the bow, the sea spray on his face, his eyes filled with hope and anticipation. He spent his days learning the ropes, literally and figuratively, from the seasoned sailors around him. He would often unroll an old, mysterious map, its edges worn and its surface covered in strange symbols and drawings of fantastical beasts. The lines on the map weren't just routes, they were promises of discovery.
Ho, ho, ho!
The crew worked in harmony, their movements a well-practiced dance of pulling ropes and adjusting sails. But every sailor knows that calm seas are often just the prelude to a storm, a quiet breath before the ocean reveals its true and tamed nature. Days turned into weeks, and the familiar coastline faded into a distant memory. One morning, a new shape appeared on the horizon, an island, lush and green, shrouded in a thin veil of mist.
Ho, ho, ho!
It was unlike any land they had ever seen. As they drew closer, they noticed something extraordinary in the sky. Giant birds, larger than any creature they could have imagined, circled high above, their shadows sweeping across the island's dense jungle. These were the legendary rocks. Cautiously, Sinbad and a small party of his crew rowed ashore, their awe mixed with a healthy dose of fear.
Ho, ho, ho!
The air was thick with the scent of exotic flowers and the sound of strange wildlife. But their exploration was cut short. With a deafening screech and the powerful rush of wind from massive wings, the rocks descended from the sky. They weren't interested in the men, but in their provisions. In a flurry of feathers and claws, the giant birds snatched barrels of food and supplies, soaring back into the heavens as quickly as they had appeared.
Ho, ho, ho!
Sinbad and his men could only watch, stunned and humbled. It was their first harsh lesson. They were guests in a world far wilder and more wondrous than they had ever dreamed. Shaken but undeterred, they set sail once more, the memory of the giant birds forever etched in their minds. But the dangers of this new world were not confined to the land. One night, the calm sea turned into a churning vortex of rage.
Ho, ho, ho!
The sky, once clear and dotted with stars, was now a canvas of black and gray, ripped open by blinding flashes of lightning. Thunder cracked like the sky itself was breaking apart. Mountainous waves crashed against their small ship, threatening to splinter it to pieces, as Sinbad and his crew fought desperately to control the vessel. A new horror emerged from the inky depths.
Ho, ho, ho!
A colossal tentacle, thick as a tree trunk and covered in suckers, rose from the water and wrapped itself around the mast. The wood groaned under the immense pressure, a monstrous growl, a sound that seemed to come from the very depths of the ocean. Echoed through the storm, the crew screamed as the sea monster tried to drag their ship into the abyss.
Ho, ho, ho!
With sheer will and frantic effort, they slashed at the tentacle with axes and swords, fighting for their very lives. This was a battle not just against a creature, but against the raw, terrifying power of the sea itself. The encounter tested Sinbad's courage to its absolute limit. Miraculously, they survived the storm and the monster, their ship battered but intact.
Ho, ho, ho!
After many more days at sea, guided by the stars and their tattered map, they spotted another island. This one, however, seemed to glow with an otherworldly light as the sun rose. It revealed a shoreline that sparkled and glittered. It was an island of treasure. With caution, learned from his previous encounters, Sinbad explored the mysterious place.
Ho, ho, ho!
He found caves filled with mountains of gold coins, chests overflowing with shimmering jewels, and trees bearing fruit made of precious gems. The sand itself seemed to be mixed with gold dust. He discovered ancient artifacts and mysterious objects that pulsed with a faint, magical energy. The wealth before him was beyond his wildest fantasies, enough to make him a king 100 times over. But as he gathered the treasures, a realization dawned on him.
Ho, ho, ho!
Each voyage, each danger he faced, had given him something far more valuable than gold. He was learning that true wealth wasn't in jewels or coins, but in the cleverness to outsmart a foe, the courage to face a storm, and the wisdom gained from every new experience. After countless adventures, facing down mythical beasts and discovering legendary treasures, the time finally came for Sinbad to return home.
Ho, ho, ho!
His ship, now heavy with gold and exotic souvenirs from his travels, sailed back into the familiar harbor of Baghdad. As they approached, the ringing of bells and the roar of a cheerful crowd filled the air. The entire city had turned out to welcome him. Stepping onto solid ground, Sinbad was no longer the same young man who had left. He was a seasoned adventurer, his face weathered by the sun and wind, his eyes holding the wisdom of 100 stories.
Ho, ho, ho!
He embraced his family, their tears of joy mixing with his own. He shared his incredible treasures, but more importantly, he shared his tales. The stories of giant rocks, terrifying sea monsters, and islands made of gold captivated everyone, young and old. Sinbad had returned home richer in every sense of the word, his name destined to become a legend, his stories an inspiration for generations of dreamers to come.
Ho, ho, ho!
Sinbad's life became a tapestry woven with the threads of his incredible journeys. He would often sit, writing in his journal, mapping out the voyages that had shaped him, each one a testament to his unyielding spirit. His story teaches us a timeless truth. Adventure is never without its perils, and the path to discovery is often fraught with danger. But for those who dare to face the unknown with courage in their hearts, cleverness in their minds,
Ho, ho, ho!
and a spirit that refuses to be broken, even the impossible can become possible. The greatest treasures are not found on any map, but are forged within us. Through the trials we endure and the horizons we dare to cross. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more epic tales.
Ho, ho, ho!